One thing I always love is
I don't know if the farmers really.
Hey, Bill, do you want me to get you a drink or anything like that?
Okay, yeah.
Okay, let's get started here.
Yeah. Okay, we're started.
Well, that means just keep quiet. So, Bill, why don't you just run with it?
I want you to take a little bit of this, squeeze it in your hand. What's best to do it is like this. So I'll pass it to Brian. He's going to be my keeper. You take it in your hands like this. And you give yourself a nose coat.
Oh, yeah. Rosemary. It's rosemary. Rosemary.
I got lots and I'm going to be advertising for the fall spaghetti sauce tea. Spaghetti sauce tea. Does anybody know what that is? No. Think.
Must be oregano,
rosemary, oregano, sage, thyme, and put it all in tea and drink it.
Oh,
so spaghetti. What is this that you have right here?
Rosemary.
Rosemary, right. And so this is the time when we're pruning all perennial plants. It's also the fall in Southern California is the busiest time of year. It's more like spring goes to summer, fall's going to winter, but our winter is like everybody else's spring.
Are you saying we should prune our rosemary?
That's why I brought it out. Any perennial plant that you don't have to prune it, you have to use it.
Oh, I use it.
So I'm saying that this is the time. This is the time that any perennial can be cut, planted. So all my restoration ecology classes this is the time, the next 2 or 3 months when the nights are cooler, and so you have a cooler temperature at night, and the sun is not as intense. So anything transplanted at this time is really good. So the backbone and the foundation of your landscapes can be put in now.
I'm sorry. So what is the time frame for that? What months?
September, October, November. And then what happens in November?
Rain.
It rains from heaven.
You actually get rain.
It rains from heaven. And so what we want to do is set everything up before that. But there's a disclaimer. Yes, ma'am.
You have to root them.
Excuse me?
You have to root them.
Root
Or
them.
just stick them in the soil.
I think she's talking about from seed.
No, you're talking about transplanting a cutting?
Yeah?
Yes.
Oh, well, that's a whole different subject. But I can talk about it. But you don't usually plant you don't usually plant, like, could you plant something like this?
That's what she doesn't know. Like, for example, if I have a lot of rosemary, can people grow things from cuttings?
They can, but the soft, not woody parts of the plant.
Yeah, okay.
And you have to put it also in non-nitrogen soils, sandy soils, so that the roots are going to have to push out to go adventuresome to find rooting spot. And so this is too hard of a skin for to root off of.
So the tops are. And you can take a rosemary, let's we've got something, and loop it down while it's growing off the bush.
Air layer, that does happen sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm not successful with that. I'm not an expert on that.
No. This is what I've read.
That's that, but you are?
Right, yeah.
And it does work?
Yeah, you know, it grows and then
So you just lay it down and put dirt on top of it and it sprouts?
Yeah, or just
She's
it
going
grows.
yes too. So ladies, give me a talk on this.
Take a seat. Let them stand up.
Okay.
Well, so anybody that needs rosemary cuttings, I've got lots.
So I started with an ecological landscape overview of looking at when you're coming into your garden, you're going to look at your garden and you're going to look at what? Anybody want to read the first sentence?
Sun, wind, and heat.
Sun and wind and heat, which is the energy in your garden. Where's the energy in the garden? When I first came to Pete and Jeannie's garden, there was a big tree right there that decided to make shade all over the place. These ficus were growing over another 2 feet over to here. I was going, ooh. And then even when I was here with Brian the other day, who we did an assessment, I was sitting in the sun because I was cold, and they were, Brian being fair-haired and not wanting to roast his little head, he sat in the garden and drank wine. And,
So atypical. That never happens.
I was listening, but as I was listening, I kept moving away from them. They had thought something was wrong with their conversation, so they asked me, and I said, no, I was just following the sun. And the sun was going more out this way because, why do you think the sun was coming out this way?
Because it was moving across the sky.
Yes,
But all
but
the
more than
trees
that,
were
the
up.
shade was coming at me.
Uh-huh.
So what? Look around the yard. We're talking observation 101. So what was happening?
The tree was
Do
too
you have
tall.
eyes in the back of your head?
Not usually.
So turn around.
Well, I can
The
pretty
night's
much
still
guess.
young.
Right. So those trees also, as the sun is in the winter, is going towards the lower in the sky, so they start shading. So the garden sun ran this way. So this is the prime, most important, most beneficial, as Brian pointed out, a box at 8 by 8, 4 by 8 box right here, which gets the most sun all day.
Where is this facing? The west?
West.
Facing west?
West.
Okay.
Well, we're only facing what we got. We usually face south. South is sort of like this. So here we have this side, and it's been pruned. I even pruned it back some more because when we use this as a planting area, this is going to shade some of it. So I just went zhip, give it more of a haircut up the
Garden
side.
was just around today. We're gonna hit 'em up, but we're fine. We'll do it.
So what about over here? Could we plant over here?
Oh, yeah. I wasn't gonna deal with that.
Pretty shady, yes. This is experiential inquiry question.
Anything good for the shade?
Yeah, ferns.
Ferns, moss.
Greens. Most of the things still like sun. Your greens aren't going to get very big and green because they don't have photosynthesis. So, sun, wind, and the wind. Do we have wind problems here?
Not too much, no. Southern California is known for no wind.
Oh, but remember we said September and
as a
October, as
sailor.
you read in
Spoken
here,
as
is
a
the
sailor.
busiest time of the year. But what about the Santanas?
Yeah.
In 2 days, your garden can be totally dusted. Sun comes up, winds start blowing, they desiccate the plant. I have a beautiful eggplant, a white eggplant. I left it go for 2 days because I was working with Dr. Dave. No. I let it go, and all of a sudden the leaves are going, and I watered it, and it's still alive, but it got injured. I didn't for 2 days, and it really got roasted, and I was surprised it's got the heat. But anyway,
But
that's...
eggplant is from, places like Greece where the only thing they can grow is eggplant, tomatoes, and peppers, and oregano and thyme. I mean, it should...
Nothing wrong with it.
Well, I know, but what do you get in Greece? Why is it so hard? Bad soil and
again, I
lots
say,
of
can you
sun.
come up and talk to my plant?
But
I need you to come up and tell them that you're from Greece and that you probably shouldn't.
You Greeks are all alike.
It's a Mediterranean plant.
I love it.
Okay, then we want to talk about the nutrient flows into your garden. Now this is depending on season, doesn't have anything to do with season. Where's the water going to come from?
The hose.
Pete.
Pete. The hose monster.
Pete's been peeing on gophers for the last year and they're gone. No. No, but Pete said he's going to handling the hose, which is right here. So now you look at laying out your garden and it's right near the hose. So yes, that's good. But in other gardens you might have, if you have to lug a hose across or anything else, you might put irrigation in. Because some of us are busy and meeting very important people and making lots of money. And then there's others of us that have time to hold a hose.
He has a home office.
He's a home
Oh,
office.
that's good.
He's on the phone as he's watering.
So the joke for the day is don't let a falling tree fall on your plants for fall. That's bad.
Garden joke, garden joke, garden humor.
So in ecological design, we want to cast a net, an ecological web, so that we get supporting systems that enter the natural landscape. So we capture, we absorb, we hold nutrients, we reincarnate waste. That's the whole philosophy of our gardening program, is that if Dr. Roley, there's never a rind in time that's not wasted. So and if you're Dr. Dave, he wants to recycle all the banana peels because he loves banana peels because he has a secret affair with worms, and that helps. And I can't. He hasn't quite told me about it yet, but the idea is that worms. He's claiming that worms go right to the bananas. And so we'll have to check that out. I have.
Let's have a worm race.
Release video to see.
So I quoted Toby Hemingway, which is Gaia's Garden, a guide to home-scale permaculture, which has been on loan from the Brian Sevlin Benevolent Foundation for a while, and you should get it if you're interested. But the first law of Dr. Roley's ecology system is what? Can anybody want to read this?
Remember, everything eats someone else's waste products and likes it. Billions of years of evolution have left few loose ends in nature. Plants give off oxygen and take in carbon dioxide. Have you hugged a plant today?
So the idea is that our waste products, the carbon dioxide that we breathe out, is linked to the oxygen is linked to a plant. So in a more cruder form, everybody eats somebody else's shit and likes it. And so many of you ate breakfast today and lunch? Did you have a bowel movement yet today? I know it's a personal.
Oh, jeez.
You're asking, you only use 10% of that. 10% of the energy is used by your body. 90% goes out. And then we throw it into a wastewater treatment plant and use a lot of energy and areas. Well, human manure is a humus package that if you do it right with hot composting, it'll work. But I'm pointing out that you see animals eating shit sometimes. Well, there's still food value in it. And so I'm saying we'd have to be cunning about how we use the food value.
Is that why those animals are doing that?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, some dogs eat cat poop.
Oh, I've seen them.
Some dogs eat dog poop. We'll go quickly over that, but I just want to touch lightly.
That's another workshop.
But so we're trying.
You stirred up the crowd, though.
That's true. It gets that tickle factor. We talk about the ick factor. The ick factor in composting, and you look at it and go, ew, it's a science fiction novel. What's happening in there? And so you get past the ick factor, and then you say, I'm an alchemist. Who knows what an alchemist is?
Yeah.
Gold is lead.
Well, in old times when people were greedy, they were trying to make lead out of gold, but we can make waste into a resource. We can make trash or garbage into black gold. And black gold is what every plant is waiting for. It's humic acids, all the breakdown of the biology that breaks. Humic acids, it's a cool term. There's fulvic acids and humic acids. There's a number of them. They go right in like freight trains into plants. They have an open car, like if you think of a railroad train, with those open bed cars that they put coal in, stuff like that. Well, the humic acids latch on to other nutrients and pull it right into the root system, go through the plant, degrade and go back into the soil and are continually used because there are billions and billions of microorganisms working with breaking down large chain carbon molecules into short chain molecules. So you have compost happens. And the second law of Dr. Roley's ecology is you can't speed up composting, you can only slow it down. You can't speed up composting, you can only slow it down. What do you think that means?
Don't fuss with it.
Well, if this is Sean, the permaculture wannabe. He's the guy that uses observation rather than toil. He's observing right now, but he's observing technologically, so you can look in.
Well, it means that you can't speed it up because the worms just let go of that waste just at a certain biological circadian rhythm kind of thing.